Hello and welcome, folks, to another episode of Theme Park Sandbox. My name is Aaron.
My name's Drew.
And it is 10 o'clock on a Sunday, and I've got coffee, so you know what that means. We're in for an awesome episode.
Yes, I'm super excited. If you watched our last episode at the end, I think it was very clear that Aaron and I are very excited to do this episode.
Hey, but before we get into it, I just want to give a quick thank you to our subscribers. We've grown this channel from basically nothing, and we're super excited that we've gotten a lot of good feedback and people are subscribing and liking these videos. If you have a moment, hit the subscribe button down below. We want to keep you up to date with the videos that we're putting out. We're really proud of them, and we hope you enjoy them as well. With that out of the way, Drew, let's talk about the Fast and the Furious theme park land that we both designed.
Yes. So as you know, in our previous episodes, Aaron and I have not been very nice to the current Fast and the Furious rides and attractions. Well, really just kind of one attraction that we have on both of our coasts that represent the entire franchise of Fast and the Furious, which is like super successful.
It's interesting because, so of the Universal properties, of the film properties that they have, Jurassic World is the most successful single film, but the Fast and the Furious franchise is by a long shot the most successful franchise that they have in their catalog. And you would think that that would be reflected in their theme park existence as well, but it seems like it's just kind of gotten the redheaded stepchild treatment. As a car guy, I think that's a shame. As a fan of the franchise, I think that's a shame. What do you think, Drew?
Yeah, it's really interesting because obviously you and I, we've let everybody know in the past that we are car guys. We met at a car meet. We both worked at a car company together. We've been in this world, in like the automotive, like tuner world in real life. And we've seen what it's like. And it's really interesting to me that the Fast and the Furious franchise, when it first came out, every car guy was super into it. And I don't know about you, but they've kind of lost me with like the last 2 or 3 movies that they've come out with. So it's really interesting to see how our lands that we've created are going to reflect kind of that feeling. I don't know if that's how you feel, but I definitely feel like I've kind of tapered off on like, oh, I'm going to go see that opening day. Like, no, I'll wait till it comes out for free on an airplane,
That is where I feel like those films really shine, is on a 6-inch screen on the back of someone's headrest.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I will say this. I feel like there was a turning point where the films stopped being really about cars, car culture, or racing, and started being more like spy action thrillers with car chases. Actually, that's something that I sort of integrated into my ride is more, well, I'll say this. I found more inspiration from like a combination of James Bond and Speed Racer than I actually did from the Fast and Furious franchise films. I'm just kind of putting a Fast and Furious costume on top of it.
Yeah, it's really interesting too, because when I was thinking about how to design my land, all the movies are so different. Like I watched all the movies and I actually think it kind of hurt my design brain because there's so many things that happen in so many different storylines. Like it's really difficult to like pinpoint like, oh, this is the one really successful part of the franchise that I'm going to try to. So it's kind of no surprise that the attraction that we ended up getting in both Universal parks is kind of weird. It doesn't really have anything to do with the movies, because if they chose like a certain segment of the movies, it's just really hard. So,
that is something to be said for, having either a figurehead like Kevin Feige to Marvel, right, where there is like a continuous vision throughout these movies, or even just a company like Lucasfilm to the Star Wars projects now, not just the movies, but the TV shows, both live action and animated. Like all of that stuff is really taken care of by one brain trust.
Right.
With Fast and Furious, it is just kind of a grab bag.
Yeah, it's been handed off a bunch of times, so it is kind of a mixed bag when it comes to storyline and people dying and coming back, and It really is the soap opera.
The soap opera of the car world.
Definitely. Okay. Well, some parameters for the episode today. First thing that we're going to go over is we have restaurants. So it's kind of been the same for all the other lands that we've reimagined or imagined. We're going to do one restaurant, one attraction, and one additional experience. So this should be really fun. So I think we should start with probably, what do you think, dining?
Yeah, we can start with dining. I mean, and I'm actually curious, Drew, just about the environment in general.
Yeah.
You know, we have kind of like we only have one really physical area that you can explore on foot, and that's here in Orlando. And otherwise, it's just kind of the digital landscape that they give you in the virtual side of things.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm trying not to. Whoa. So, seeing as we're gonna fill an entire land with this property, I want to know what you were gonna fill it with. You know, just as we're walking in, what is the ambiance that we're gonna experience?
Sure.
And then guide me to your restaurant.
Yeah, so my land, first of all, like I said, I watched all the movies, and there were two movies that really stood out to me. And like there was two that really stand out when I think of the franchise in general of Fast and the Furious. And those two movies are the original, The Fast and the Furious, and the third movie, which is Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift. So I wanted to incorporate both of those areas in my land. So what I want you to picture is kind of a baseball diamond. You're sitting at home plate, you're looking out, you see the baseball diamond, there's the pitcher's mound right in front of you. So from home plate to the pitcher's mound, that's my main street. So, but what's interesting about this street is that it's actually divided in two. And this was kind of something that I pictured, and I was like, I don't know if that's going to work. But I think it would really be cool. And what I want to do with my main road for entry is I want the entire right side from the middle to the right. I want it to be dressed like downtown LA, like Long Beach, clearly in California, in the LA area vibe. And on the left side, I want it to be Tokyo. I literally want you to be able to take a selfie this way and you're in LA, and take a selfie this way and you're in Japan. I think there's such cool cultures, and at the very end of that street is two iconic cars. And those cars, when you see them, tell the entire story as to why this land is divided in half. And those cars, on the Japan side, I want Brian's Supra. I want the bright orange Supra. And on the right side, I mean, everyone knows what it's going to be. It's going to be Dom's Challenger. And it's from the iconic scene, the iconic race at the end of the first Fast and the Furious, when they race their quarter mile just before the train is about to hit them. And then Dom, of course, crashes his Challenger. So, like, I think those two cars kind of embody what the Fast and the Furious franchise has tried to stick to this whole time, and I think it's fallen a little bit short. So I want to remind everyone like where it all began. It started with a mix between American muscle and Japanese JDM tuning. Now, I have had lots of experience with Japanese tuning. There's some cars behind me that you might notice that one of them I've owned, the little black one over here. It's a totally different culture than the American muscle culture. And I do have an American classic car, so I know that side of it as well. And they're just so different, but they need to be kind of encapsulated by this land and embraced in kind of not like a head-to-head, but like we're all car people, right? That's something that I think has fallen really short with the Fast and the Furious franchise. It's not about, like, Vin Diesel. I know we're going to make 1,000 jokes about family. But it's a family, right?
I'm surprised we've gone 10 minutes without actually making a joke about it yet.
Me too. Me too. Maybe our title sequence will just cut to Vin Diesel saying family. But anyway, that's the whole franchise, right? Like, Brian owes Dom a 10-second car. What does he buy? He buys a 2JZ Supra, and then they fix it up, and then they race the Challenger versus the Supra. So I think they represent the two sides of my land. So you can imagine it's totally different. I've been to Japan. Japan is like way clean, super colorful, very interesting architecturally. Versus LA, the street is going to be a little bit more craggy, maybe a few patches here and there. And just like different street lights, different trash cans, different everything. So that's kind of the vibe that I'm going for.
I think one of the most important things in establishing the land is going to be that main street, because the street is almost like a silent character. Yeah. The asphalt itself, it could kind of tell these stories in a way, and I think just in the way that the great theme park theming uses every aspect, and that includes what's below your feet. I think that you're using a great tool in terms of storytelling here to say, here's one side of this franchise storytelling, here's another side of this franchise storytelling. I think that using the cars as like focal point is excellent. Would the cars like be in front of your attraction? Were they in front of a restaurant? Or was it just kind of like a focal point and a divide?
They are a lead-in into my additional attraction, because the additional attraction is kind of behind that pitcher's mound area where those two cars sit, if you think about it. So think of like center field is where my additional experience is, and then my e-ticket attraction is on the LA side, and my restaurant is actually on the Tokyo side.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Very
but
cool.
Like picture Florida's Fast and the Furious queue. Like that's perfect. Mm-hmm. I don't mind that look at all. I think it is very like industrial, Long Beach, LA, that kind of area. Yeah. So I think we should definitely stick with that on the LA side, but for the Japan side, it needs to be like a lot cleaner, different colors, different signage, just to really tell that story.
Yeah, I'm imagining a lot of neon would be really cool, and just like full of lights, and that would be really incredible. I will say what I wrote down as far as environmental factors, one of the things that I love, and it's such a subtle feature, but it's in Galaxy's Edge, and it's the sound of spaceships overhead. And so what I imagine would be super cool is to hear races, not to actually see them, but to hear races and hear occasionally police sirens, and to give you that full immersion of like, oh, just around the corner, there's a race that you just missed.
There's something going on over
having
there. Right.
Burnt rubber on the ground, like having really lived in this environment, seeing like the signs, the like obvious signs of like donuts in an intersection, and just like really giving it like the sense of this is a place that car guys go and have a ball. Like this is like the paradise for car culture. Yeah. And it's kind of like a tangent to legal activities, but the risk is part of the intrigue.
I will say, Aaron and I we never were a part of illegal activities ever. It was mostly just drive your car to some restaurant and eat, and then talk about your car until 1 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah. Yep. A lot of Thai teas, a lot of coffee in dimly lit parking lots. It's the opposite approach of what you want to see in a theme park, or by extension on a movie. But like the guys that really show off and are hooning their car and doing burnouts are the guys that you do not want to hang out with. Like it's the most casual, subtle, cool, humble people that have like the crazy builds. Those are the guys that you want to hang out with.
Yeah, it's really funny.
But in our case, we sort of have to flip it and say, bring on the D-bags. Like, those are the ones that sell. Those put butts in seats.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, I want to hear about... I explained the description of my kind of entryway and the facade of my land. So I want to hear what you came up with.
I didn't come up with nearly as much detail as you did. I love the idea of splitting the two. The one thing that I really thought was important, I wanted it to feel more like a city and less just like an industrial garage, because that's kind of the sense that I get here in Orlando, is that you're just coming upon a garage. And I really wanted the city to be more vibrant and be a city. I think one thing that works in the favor of Orlando is that you have other things that are kind of masking the blandness of the just Fast and Furious attraction, because you have some more San Francisco elements. You have like the pier, and I think that would be really important. And I think that choosing LA or choosing Tokyo was great. I actually was thinking of Miami as mine, and I wanted that bright, very like beachy,
like the Too Fast, Too Furious vibe.
The Too Fast, Too Furious.
Okay,
yeah. That was exactly my my sort of time and place.
Okay.
Not my favorite movie for car choices, but I think as far as like having very like visually delightful imagery and settings, like that is a really, really great place to start. So I wanted it to be, I mean, I would even stretch that to say some of the scenes in Cuba in the latest Fast and Furious. Having little bits of that would be really interesting, where that is kind of like a pretty like, not to be disrespectful, but like pretty like lowbrow racer culture, if you will, that whole sequence. But it's really neat and intriguing and shows like the car culture really does span globally. So giving it kind of a cityscape feel, having the city feel more alive. One thing that I thought would be really cool, I'm going to have a garage, of course. You can't not have a garage. I'm going to have a garage as a facade, but I thought that surrounding some of those areas, if you could obscure the windows enough so that this was safe, I actually want real KUKA robots doing welding to give the sense that there are actually people in there working on cars. Because I think it's really important to show that like these cars don't just manifest.
Yeah.
There's like some reference to like car lingo that makes it seem like, oh, these people really know cars. They know what they're talking about. Or, ooh, they built this thing up. Like, no, people put their lives into just building cars, and they don't even necessarily drive them hard. They just are proud of the craft. They're proud of the work that they put into building, maintaining, restoring these automobiles. And I think that would be a cool just visual to have literally just a robot in there welding just sheet metal. Yeah. For all day long. Yeah. Just having it go.
The first thing I thought of when you said that was, I'm pretty sure in the sequence, like the San Francisco underground sequence in the tram tour here, they have a machine that shoots sparks. So you could easily do something like that without even needing to actually weld. But like, I agree with you. Like, I'm one of those people that you're explaining. Like, I've put my heart and soul into my American classic car. I won't reveal what it is yet. You guys can speculate down in the comments. But I poured my heart and soul into this car, and like it really is about like the work and the love and the joy of doing it. Like I barely drive the thing, maybe once a month. So I feel you.
And it's not a race car.
It is not.
Yeah. The point is not to be, and I guess that's something that the Fast and Furious doesn't really get grasp of, is that car culture is not race culture.
Right.
Racing is one element, and tuning for racing is one element. They have kind of like the offshoot of like Demolition Derby and some other like silly areas, but I think it is an enormous missed opportunity that they just sort of like skate past people having cars for the passion of having cars and kind of what it represents, especially like in Americana, in our tradition of car ownership. I mean, California car culture is like its own country, its own thing.
Yeah, and actually I would kind of agree then that if you picked like your setting as Miami with the Too Fast, Too Furious movies, I would actually argue that that's exactly right. Like, the cars that are in that movie aren't so much about performance and racing so much as they are about the look and the personality that comes out of the... It's a way to kind of show your personality through your car. So
if I can translate this into Disney, this is Ramon in Cars saying low and slow and like being all about aesthetics and having a paint shop. That is a caricature of a really important aspect of car culture.
Definitely. You're right. So that's really cool. Okay, so Miami, that would be, and like, I mean, come on, you're going to be in Florida. So you're going to nail, come on. You're going to nail Miami. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
And like,
you just go 3 hours away, pick up some props and come back.
Right, exactly. Pick up some people, take photos of people. And you know, like when you're in Miami and you see like all these big yachts, like, you know, there's an underground, like there's a feeling of that kind of underground. So that's really cool, dude. I think that's great.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess it's gone without saying so far, we aren't trying to put this into one particular spot of a theme park. We aren't even trying to put it into a particular theme park. I hope it goes without saying that it's a universal park, but we're just kind of making up a land as we go. But I think that a water feature in a Miami setting would be essential. Absolutely essential, because you can have that sort of coastal vibe. You can give it a beachy quality. I mean, I would absolutely love a little like trio or quartet of like Cuban musicians.
Oh yeah.
That would blow my mind. That whole vibe would just really, really scream the franchise without sacrificing the fun, because I don't think that I think that you lose people when you take yourself overly seriously. And I think that is certainly something that the film franchise and their overall storytelling falls victim to.
Yeah.
It's like that over serious, over dramatized, it's like, it is kind of like trying to make a park themed out of a soap opera.
Yeah.
Because it is, I think that's why the memes are so great, is because the series takes itself too seriously, and so as a result, the memes are hilarious by contrast.
Yeah, if you don't laugh at yourself, someone will.
The first one didn't take itself seriously, I don't believe.
Yeah.
I don't think like the next two really did, but it started leaning into it. I think maybe towards the fourth, and then certainly everyone that followed.
Yeah, I would agree. Four is definitely when it got a little too serious.
That's my idea, is make sure that we make it fun. Yeah. It's got to be a fun place just to look at. I think that being able to look at Tokyo to my left and LA on my right would be awesome. I think that would be just like so vibrant and offer such amazing options and opportunities for that like comparison contrast. It would really, really be cool. And it really does tell the story just in a visual, just in a shot down the main street.
Yep.
You're now learning, oh, that's what this is about. Okay.
And one thing that I was thinking about when thinking of that idea of the division line between the two separate themed areas is there is Universal Studios in Osaka. So, I mean, what better designers to work with than the ones who live in Japan, who probably own a lot of the cars that you and I wish we can own here, who know what the car culture is and like where those people hang out in Japan. So
I have recently, like within the last 3 weeks, looked up on multiple occasions importing a key car or like a little, like one of those micro vans.
K-car.
Yeah. I've spent more time than I care to admit looking at like those like quirky square vans and just how cool some of the designs are that just don't get exported. They don't leave the country.
Right. You can import them. It's just like this pricing is astronomical. So it wouldn't really be worth it.
It's like a $500 car that you spend $8,000 on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you want a right-hand drive car, just buy Postal Jeep. You'll be just as happy.
There you go. And
cool.
You can find a mechanic around the corner who can actually work on it.
That's true. Nice. Okay, well, we've talked about our description of the land. Shall I move into my dining section?
Let's talk about food. I've been dying for this. Yes.
Yeah, Aaron and I are definitely food people. We enjoy good food. Food comes up a lot during our overrated, underrated episodes.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely.
My restaurant idea, I kind of like when you're at a car meet, once again, I'm in that mindset of like, let's get these car people like you and me back into this franchise. So like, let's learn what they like to do. So for me in this mindset, I decided that I didn't want to do a sit-down restaurant. First of all, Fast and the Furious just does not talk about food at all. I'm pretty sure Hobbs doesn't eat ever. Like we never.
No, I don't think so.
We never see any of the characters really eat. There's a couple food references, but other than that, it's like they don't need food. So there's no references.
They have like the occasional family barbecue,
right?
But it's constantly flipping the burger. It's never actually eating it.
Right. Apparently they just drink beer. That's the only
just
thing you
Coronas.
see is someone drinking a Corona. That's it.
Yep.
So
from the neck.
Yeah. So anyway, I kind of went into this with that automotive meat type of mindset, and so for me, when you're at something like a car meet or a car show, you don't want to be sitting down while your car is outside in a parking space. You want to get your food and you want to go like talk with everybody and talk about their cars and walk around and like you want to be around the cars. So for me, it made no sense to do a sit down restaurant. I wanted to do a quick service dining restaurant in the Japan area. It's going to be quick service, but the only items that they're going to serve that they actually like serve to you over a counter would be milk tea boba and like matcha green tea, which is like everybody in Japan loves that, and especially in the car culture here. Popcorn chicken with different dipping sauces. I wanted different types of takoyaki. Have you ever had takoyaki?
No.
They're
Sounds
like
delicious.
They're like little fried balls with like octopus inside, but you can put other stuff in it. So like I like the idea of having like a rotating menu kind of thing with different types of takoyaki, and then also taiyaki, which is the waffle like fish that have sweet fillings inside. They're delicious. They're really good. So I wanted that, and then of course the one tie-in that I have to add into the Tokyo area is Han's potato chips. So Han, the character in Tokyo Drift, the first time we meet him, all he's doing is eating chips. So of course, we have to serve Han's house-made chips at this quick service dining. And then
excellent.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I could just imagine everyone walking around talking and just like popping a chip in their mouth, just like Han, right? But the main food that will be served is going to be very Japanese. And what I mean by that is it's going to be served out of a bank of Japanese vending machines. So,
ooh, that's awesome.
So in Japan, if you've ever been, there is a huge amount of vending machines. I mean, on like every street corner, and they will literally sell you anything from like underwear to a hot lobster dinner. And in fact, in one of the scenes in Tokyo Drift, they're sitting down and you can literally see a bank of vending machines behind them while they're eating, because you can order like ramen, tonkatsu, and these vending machines make them. So I loved the idea of having a bank of vending machines with food to go, so that you can just walk around and enjoy the area, because that feels very car meaty to me, like everybody standing up, eating, talking with each other, and just like hanging out. That's my restaurant idea.
I love that. I think one thing that would bring, I've never thought of a restaurant in these terms, but by by offering people just the option to have quick service and what it sounds like is all pretty much handheld food.
Yeah.
You give the opportunity to make that land very kinetic and like almost always moving.
Right.
I think that is exactly right. And I never thought that a restaurant would be a contributing factor to that, but that's genius.
Yeah.
That's so cool. That's such great utilization.
And like I said, it's just a huge point of Japanese culture to have those vending machines on every street corner. So I think that's an authentic experience. And I think they should, like I said, partner up with Universal Osaka and get some like legitimately accurate machines brought in for this dining area. So, yeah.
I went in a very different direction than that in my restaurant offerings.
Okay.
But we are in absolute agreement that fine dining and Fast and Furious do not mix.
No.
What I set up was my own little micro car meet of food trucks.
Oh, cool. Oh, I love food trucks.
I have 3 food trucks that are the sort of style that you're used to, where it's, think of Chef, that's like that classic food truck style. And then a 4th one, I actually looked this up. Just for fun, I was like, what is the biggest food truck that you can like get? And there is a company in San Antonio that made a food truck out of a semi truck. So it's like a shipping container sized food truck.
Nice.
So what I wanted that to be is walk-up service to a giant, like basically that would be your walk-up restaurant. It could even just fold back into a building and be its own sit-down restaurant, but I wanted it to be these 4 trucks, 3 of your typical classic and 1 semi-truck full of food. And I actually went as far as styling all of them uniquely. So the first one, I'm so glad that you brought up Han. The first one is a rice bowl place. First of all, Drew, actually, let's give a little bit of an Easter egg to the character of Han. Okay. Do you know his last name?
Oh gosh, I used to. Oh no, I can't remember it.
It is Han Sol O.
Is it really?
Han Sol, as in South Korea. O -O. Han Solo.
I didn't know that. I definitely didn't know that.
So I named my rice bowl place Han Bolo.
Is bowl spelled like Seoul but with a B?
It should be. I didn't do it in my notes, but it should be.
Awesome.
So classic rice bowl.
Yeah.
You got steak, pork, chicken, tofu, veggies, whatever, served in hubcaps.
Ooh, interesting. Okay, cool.
And I thought that would be a really cool, very Instagrammable food offering. The next one, number 2, is Toretto's Cafe.
Yeah.
And this is a sandwich joint. So tying in Miami, we'd have a famous Cubano sandwich, but also it would be other types of paninis. And I thought, I looked this up too. You can get basically a brand, like a press with a shape in it. And so I thought it'd be really cool to do panini presses with the shape of various tools.
Ooh.
So like having like a wrench or hammer or like whatever sockets or like various car tools that you'd see pressed directly into your bread. And of course, you can't have a sandwich joint and call it Toretto's Cafe without having the Brian, which is going to be a spicy tuna, not just tuna, but spicy tuna-on-white with no crust.
Awesome.
Number 3 is actually a food truck bar, and it's called the GT Bar.
Okay.
Pun off the GTR.
Yeah. Awesome.
And so these would be various like cocktails or mocktails, and I thought it'd be really cool to give them all underglow, like LED underglow.
Yeah.
And also have a Corona Rita. Ooh. So put a Corona upside down inside of a margarita. Boom. Classic. And the last one, this is a deep cut, but I hope that the real Fast and Furious heads like this. So the fourth one is the semi-truck. This is going to be Gallows Pizza. And you can order a Gallo 12, which is a personal pizza, or a Gallo 24 as a family pizza.
Yes, that is fantastic. For those of you who don't know, Gallo is just a made-up pizza joint, and Brian is supposed to be teamed up with a detective, and he knows nothing about cars, and he's holding a cup from Gallows Pizza. So Brian goes, hey, for my car, do you think I should do a Gallo 12 or a Gallo 24? He goes, I think a Gallo 24. I'm like, oh, I didn't know pizza places made engines.
So it's just a perfect callback to Brian getting to own some Fed.
Totally.
And it's awesome.
Totally.
Yeah. So
that's great.
That's my car meat of food.
I love that. And actually, the whole like semi-container thing, I think they did this past year during Mardi Gras. So like there was like different booths that they put around, and I'm pretty sure one of them was like a fake little steel container. So I think you're onto something.
They did a bunch of those little mobile like drop containers for various things, just because of social distancing and the normal Mardi Gras stuff. They had to get creative, and I think it worked pretty well.
Yeah, I could totally see that. I think that's really cool, and I like the idea of it representing, once again, different cultures that live within this Fast and the Furious, franchise, which equal different cultures in the automotive world. So we're on the same page, definitely. I think we're trying to fill the same holes.
We're just calling them as we see them and kind of finding our clever ways to fill those holes.
I'm getting a really cool idea of what your land is going to look like. So that's really neat. Nice.
Hey guys, sorry to hit the brakes on you, but we are going to end this episode here. Thank you so much for watching so far, and we are going to conclude this conversation about the Fast and Furious theme park in next week's episode. So if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. It's right down next to the like button. And we look forward to seeing you for the conclusion, part 2 of our Fast and Furious theme park next week. See you soon.